everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm Vanessa Uwituze. I want to say thank you to African Vaccine Academy, Bloom Public Health, and Biotechnology Training Facility for this opportunity. I'm Vanessa, and I'm a molecular biologist, and I represent East Africa. So I'm going to talk some of the challenge associated with vaccine production in East Africa. To highlight a little bit on my introduction, I would say that Africa, we contribute 50% of infectious disease originate from Africa. However, Africa produces less than 4% of vaccine and therapeutic, and this create a significant public health challenge. And that's why we have vaccination is one of the way for disease management and prevention. So I'm going to discuss some of the challenges associated with vaccinology in East Africa. So my previous presenter has talked of some of the challenges, which I'm not going to repeat. I have highlighted some of the challenge. I have highlighted the financial, the international IP, the social and media, then political and governments, but some of the challenges have been discussed by my previous presenters. So personally, I'm going to focus on intellectual property or IP and biosafety, biosecurity, and bioethic, and I'm going to focus on social, media, culture, and lack of public engagement. So for us to be on the same page, when I talk about intellectual property or IP, is defined as the legal ownership by a person or business, like the person or ownership of innovation by a person or a business. In this time, at this point, our innovation is the vaccine. So it's the ownership of the vaccine by a person or a business or a facility. So how is this achieved? By getting a patent, a copyright, or a trade secret. You see, most people, when they're publishing the protocol for production of vaccine, they just show maybe the vaccine candidate was produced by protein expression. We use this vector, but when they reach to the point how they formulated the vaccine is always black, and they don't give that information. So in East Africa, what are some of the challenges when it comes to IP? What are some of the challenge? First of all, I would like to highlight the treat or agreement. This goes with dependence. The treat or agreement between East African country and West African countries that do not allow some of the African country to register any IP about the vaccine till 2060. This has been recorded in some of the country, particularly in Uganda, because we has produced some of the vaccine, but when we are requiring for IP, we realize that our country have signed agreement between it and the European Union. There is no Africa in Uganda. There will be no IP for vaccine till 2036, I guess. 36, I guess. So till that time, we cannot patent our vaccine because of that agreement between our government and Western world. And this is one of the challenge. I think it's everywhere in Africa, the dependence on the Western world. And then the second one I'm going to highlight, it will be the value of IP that are obtained in Africa compared to IP that are obtained somewhere else. When you see the African IP value or the East Africa IP value, when you obtain IP from Africa, which value does it have? Can you supply those vaccines to outside? If you have, maybe if I get IP from Kenya, from Uganda, how much value does that have compared to IP obtained maybe from US FDA? which is somehow a challenge. You may say you have IP from your country, but you cannot actually sell your product in Africa even. So there's this challenge. Maybe the solution, I will take the challenge and the solution at the same time. Maybe the solution to this challenge, to IP value, maybe to have a cooperation of all African countries so that we can be able to have one regulation body that can actually approve the vaccine. If that regulation body approves your vaccine in Africa, that means you can actually sell them within Africa, because of course 4% of the vaccine are made in Africa. That means we have a market and you can sell those vaccines within Africa. So if you can have like one body, maybe FDA Africa, that approves the vaccine that are made in Africa and add a value to our vaccine. So I'll go to the third point, which is the cost of the IP. You may find that that IP costs around $500, which sometimes here. That's, for example, in Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda, that's the cost of IP when you're processing it. But when you go to the legal procedure, it goes up to $5,000 just obtaining the IP, but when you go to legal procedure, it goes up to $5,000. Also, the cost is a constraint for most scientific, which are really producing the vaccine. You end up saying, maybe I have produced a vaccine candidate, but am I willing to pay this up to $5,000 to get the IP to patent my product? Go to the fourth point. Is political will, politicians to fight for scientists and people who are producing the vaccine. If someone can send a treaty or agreement between him and his country and West world that till 2060 there will be no vaccine patented in Uganda or in Kenya. So there is no political support that scientists have when it comes to vaccine production. Another challenge, I will go to I think is the fourth one, which is reluctant. African countries, East African countries, we are reluctant when it comes to obtaining IP. You may find people move from lab to publication instead from lab to IP to patenting their product, then publication. So we most of the time we jump the procedure of patented of obtaining the patent of our product. In this case, the product is a vaccine. And then we move from lab research, then to vaccine, and then to publication instead of getting the patent. And this really, it's a big challenge, because if you cannot protect your innovation, probably someone gonna use it in a better way. And also, I'm going to talk about the industry, the cooperation between the industry here in East Africa. You see, when you go outside, you realize that the academy, the university has actually, they are connected to the investors. Like when you get a product, they actually help you to get IP and you sell what you have innovated from the lab to the investors who are going to produce it in a huge amount, or industrial production of the vaccine. But here is the opposite. You see, like few investors are really interested into vaccine production. You see, our product most time end at the lab level, which is what is happening here when it comes to IP. So when you see, like some people, you just make a product and you sell to an investor who is going to do industrial production. That investor will follow up with the IP. But here you see the university, you don't see a single factory for production. And if even you may find like one factory maybe or two factory in East Africa, but still they are not approved at the international level, which is still a challenge to us because of IP value of Africa. You see, like most African countries, you see all the factors, they're not approved by US Food and Drug Authority, and this is a challenge. Or if you are not approved by US Food and Drug administration, you can actually follow the ISO standards. I have highlighted some, but that's maybe for interest of time. I'm not going to talk about them, but if you cannot be proved by that international, you can follow that, which also a challenge still. You find that they actually, people want to produce vaccine, but they're not willing to help us to release those vaccine to the market, so which becomes a challenge.